And welcome back. This is part 2 to my PS3 collection. We're going to go ahead and jump right on in. First game is Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons of the Patriots. It's Metal Gear Solid, hoping that this is going to be not only a really good representation of the power of the PS3, but also something that will salvage, my thoughts on the Metal Gear Solid series after playing 3. Because I want to actually play as Solid Snake, not as Big Boss. Alright, up next is MLB Front Office Manager. This was a game I was just actually talking to a friend of mine at work about today. And I'm hoping that this is going to be fun. When it comes to baseball games, for me, I love to play them. I love to make a player, take hold of a team, go through a season, try to win a World Series. Excuse me, but baseball season is 162 games long, and that takes a long time to play any aspect of the games. So sometimes I end up simming games. I'll simulate after I set up the team, move players up and down from the minor leagues or whatever. I basically become the front office manager. So the fact that they made a front office manager game made me jump on this, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm just hoping that it'll be fun and quick. Speaking of baseball, here is MLB 12 The Show. This is now 2 years old, but I don't care. I just like to have a new one every couple of years. This is the series, the baseball series out there. Now it's the only one for the consoles. The 2K games license for the MLB expired, or something happened and they no longer are making baseball games, but this is the series and it's only on the PlayStation consoles. That's the one to shoot for if you're a baseball fan. Alright, next up is Mortal Kombat Complete Edition. I haven't had a chance to play any of this yet, but it's supposed to have been a really good revival to the series. And I don't know how well it'll come through, but you've got some characters up here, some extra characters. And the main one on this batch is Freddy Krueger, which is pretty fun. But, being that this is on the PlayStation, you also get Kratos from the God of War series as a playable fighter in the game, so that's pretty awesome. Alright, up next is MotorStorm and MotorStorm Apocalypse. I haven't played the Apocalypse one yet, but the first MotorStorm is really, really good. It's an early game, maybe launch, or at least within the first year or so, I'd say. And for an early PS3 game, it looked really, really awesome. I'm not so good at it, though. Alright, up next is Ni no Kuni. Wrath of the White Witch, or Ni no Kuni. I'm not 100% sure what the right pronunciation of that is. But this is another one of the RPGs for the system that I was desperate to pick up, and I managed to get this like the moment it dropped to $30. I ran out and picked that up. I almost forgot to mention this. A big reason why I was attracted to this one wasn't just because it was an RPG, but because the animation in it is done by Studio Ghibli, which is, I'm a big fan of the movies from them. So the animation style in the game looks like something taken from one of their movies. Alright, up next is Resistance Fall of Man, Resistance 2 in regular version, and Greatest Hits version. This is another one of those boneheaded eBay purchases where I already had a copy. I found a cheap copy, I ordered it, it came in, and I go to look at my shelf and I'm like, oh look, I already had that. And then up next, Resistance 3. I have not played any of the Resistance games. I think that they're very interesting as far as the story is concerned. Sort of suggests like what would happen if aliens invaded around the time of World War II, and maybe even aliens invade after our side lost. But all I know is that it's old weaponry with aliens. Alright, up next is Remember Me. A game I was really excited about when I first read magazine articles and online about it, and then it came out and didn't get the greatest reviews, but it wasn't horrible or anything. So I finally picked it up when it dropped to 20 bucks. Alright, up next is a series of Skate. There's Skate 1, Skate 2, and Skate 3. The Skate series, I have two encounters with them, so to speak. I had a friend at work who was really high on these games. 5 or 6 years ago, when like the first one came out, I remember hearing all about it. And then more recently, YouTubers like PewDiePie and Markiplier have been playing this, and this one here in particular, Skate 3. And the stuff that I saw was just so wacky. It's almost like they purposely wanted to make a game that wasn't just a hardcore skate sim, but like fun and goofy, and in my opinion they succeeded. Up next is Square Enix game called Sleeping Dogs. This is my broken copy. If anybody saw my pickups video where I picked this up, I'm still trying to find a better case for this game. But this was supposed to be the sequel to the True Crime games from the PS2 and the Xbox and GameCube, I believe. And like it kind of got scrapped near the last minute, so Square Enix came in and bought the rights to it, finished up the game, and released it. It's sort of Grand Theft Auto in Hong Kong. Excuse me. Up next is the Sly collection. Sort of like the Jak and Daxter one. This has got Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, Sly 2 Band of Thieves, and Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves, all redone in HD. I played some of the first game of this because I never played them on the PS2, and I was having fun, and then I died, and I was like, oh well, whatever, I died, and then it was like, take you right back to the beginning of the level, and I was like, okay. Games used to be like that. I remember those days. I'm trying hard to forget, though. I like my games simple, and if I die, I don't want to have to backtrack through a whole bunch. So anyway, next up is South Park Stick of Truth. This is the game copy itself, but one of my first videos was an unboxing of I got the Grand Wizard Edition. I move the camera, you can still see Cartman sitting right up there. The rest of the box for this is sitting over on the other side of the room. Check out the unboxing video if you want to see the entire contents. Up next, Spec Ops The Line, kind of an under-the-radar game that gets a lot of acclaim for its interesting story. I haven't played that far into it, but it was fun for what I had a chance to play. Up next is the Tales of Symphonia Chronicles. This is the original Tales of Symphonia, which is from the GameCube, and Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World, which is on the Wii. I have that game, so it's in my Wii collection video. But this is an HD re-release of it that came out for the PlayStation 3. I haven't had a chance to play this. I was super excited to get this. Once again, it's an RPG, and I try to pick up as many of those as I can, and I've long since wanted to get into the Tales series. And speaking of Tales series, here's Tales of Exilia, and I hope I'm pronouncing that one right. I saw online a lot of people were saying it's not Zilia, it's Exilia, so take that for what you will. This is pretty cool because it's a limited edition version, which means it has a music CD, classic costume DLC voucher, and a character book. And the sequel to this is going to be coming out over here, I think sometime this year, by the end of the year. Although the longer it takes is fine with me, because that way I have more time to raise the money up for the different games that are coming out. Here's another one of those kind of under-the-radar RPGs. I don't even know if this is a really good game or not, but I kept reading about it and seeing it on Amazon, so I jumped on it a while back. It's called Time and Eternity. It's an NIS America game, which is a familiar name to me, but I can't think of anything else that they've put out. Up next is TNA Impact. TNA TNA had this one lone video game, and I decided to pick it up just because it's got wrestlers in it that I don't get to play in newer WWE games, guys like Kurt Angle, Sting, Samoa Joe. There's a lot of good wrestlers in TNA, but I don't watch their product much, and I don't know how good that game is. And up next is the Tomb Raider trilogy, and this is Tomb Raider Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, all in HD. At least one or two of these was released for consoles that weren't in HD. So this is just everything that those games were, plus high definition. It says something about having 30 minutes of bonus video, so that'd be kind of cool if it's like, excuse me, documentary style, you know, how they made the game stuff, which I enjoy. Up next is Twisted Metal for the PS3. Awesome looking game, plays pretty well. I mentioned it in my Twisted Metal 2 favorite games installment. I mentioned that it's kind of limited because I think you can only play as a couple of different racers and not the whole list of them like you could in the old games. Alright, up next is the Uncharted Dual Pack. This has Uncharted Drake's Fortune and Uncharted 2 Among Thieves Game of the Year edition. There's the Among Thieves. There's the first game. And this comes with all the bonus content, at least on number 2. And I mean, I got these because it's Naughty Dog and because they were hyped as some of the best games for the PS3. I think 2 is considered the best of the series. But I also bought it because my console, my PS3, came with Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. And it was like a 500 gig model, and it came with this game, and so that's what I decided to get. So I had to have the first 2 games as well. Next up is Watch Dogs. This is my most recent purchase. I just bought this the other day. I can't wait to get into it. I went to try to play it, I think it was last night. I'm recording this pretty late on Saturday morning now, it would be. But I went to play this Thursday night after having all day long to play it and just getting distracted by other stuff. I finally managed to sit down, and I got about as far as to set up my Uplay connection and how to turn off the online mode so I don't get that random hacking thing. I might talk about that in another video after I've had some time to play this. But it looks really, really cool. It's another Ubisoft game. It's kind of why I did the Ubisoft related video the other day. Alright, up next is White Knight Chronicles, and which is the International Edition, which means full copy of White Knight Chronicles, 50 disc-based online quests, custom personal virtual lobby, voice chat, and live talk. And then White Knight Chronicles 2, and this is one that comes with the bonus game. It's the fully remastered White Knight Chronicles. When I got this game, when I got both games, I got them because they looked interesting. They looked like sort of like the Dragon's Crown, or excuse me, Dragon's Dogma game earlier. I thought that this was going to be a fun game with a lot of stuff to do. I didn't realize that number 2, the sequel here, was going to come with the first game. I wouldn't have bought both of them. Probably I wouldn't have bought both of them. But anyway, we're down to the last 2 games here. WWE 2K14, the most recent installment in the WWE game series. And I got it for the PS3 so that I could download stuff for this. Because apparently, okay, and maybe this has changed now because of the recent news from Microsoft that they were taking the paywall off of Xbox Live. But anyway, I had gotten previous installments, especially WWE 12 and 13, and I would go to download other people's custom wrestlers or created wrestlers, and it wouldn't let me do it. And I thought that the whole Xbox Live Gold thing was simply if I wanted to play people in wrestling matches. But even that downloadable content requires you to pay extra for it on the Xbox, or it did It may have changed with the recent changes that Microsoft did to Xbox Live Gold, and basically my TV is on YouTube on the 360 now. I used to watch it all through the PS3 because I could access it. On the 360 now, you no longer have to have gold in order to do things like YouTube and Netflix and all that. So that's why I picked this up for the PS3, so that I could get that content without having to pay any extra. Hopefully it's changed now, and Xbox owners can now download that content too. In fact, I can find out for my earlier games pretty easily, I guess. Alright, and my last game here is You Don't Know Jack, the Irreverent Trivia Party game. I picked this up for two reasons. First and foremost, because I have a friend who has this game too. Sadly, in all the time that I've owned it, we've never played, we've never hooked up online to play this. But also because back in the late 90s, I played this series when it first came out on the PC. In fact, I still have, I believe it's Volume 3, installed on this computer, or maybe the old computer. But it was a hilarious trivia game that, as it says, is irreverent, but it's downright crude at times. That's probably talk for another video at some point. The fun that I had with this with some of my friends in Montana when we played this silly little game. Well, that's that. That's my entire PS3 collection. One last look around just to make sure I didn't overlook something, because that would be a real shame. I think I pretty much got it all. The PS3 collection, it's not as big as my 360 collection, because I think I've mentioned it before, but I didn't get my PS3 until about a little over 2 years ago. Only started playing it a little over a year ago so that I could play games like Beyond Two Souls, Last of Us, and to do GTA 5 for the online, for the free aspect of the online. But my collection has been getting bigger all the time, and I've been focusing more on it. Now that my HDMI output on it went out, my games obviously don't look high def anymore, and that's kind of stolen its thunder. But I'm hoping to either have that fixed or replace the console at some point in the future. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's my collection. Thanks a lot for watching. I don't know when the PS2 videos will start up. It's probably going to be a little while, though, as I decide how I'm going to tackle it. Like I said, 300 games. This was roughly 65 or so in 2 videos. So 300 games is going to take up a lot of time. But I hope you stick around for it. I know I have one friend who's eager to see my PS2 collection. I'm going to do it. It's just going to take some time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.